Queenswood Girls' Boarding School was the epitome of excellence. Nestled in the serene hills just outside the bustling city, it was a place where tradition met modernity. The school was renowned not just for its rigorous academic curriculum but also for the grace and poise of its students. Girls from across the country, and even beyond, vied for a place in this prestigious institution, knowing that a Queenswood education was a ticket to a bright future. The students of Queenswood were a sight to behold. Clad in their immaculate uniforms, they walked with a confidence that came from knowing they were among the best. The girls were not just intelligent, they were vibrant, full of life and energy, and their beauty was as much in their minds as in their appearances. It was said that Queenswood girls had a certain aura, a combination of brilliance, elegance, and an indomitable spirit that set them apart from others. The dormitories were no less impressive. The well-organized bunks, each bed neatly made, were a reflection of the discipline instilled in the girls. The dormitories buzzed with quiet conversations as the students discussed their day, shared secrets, and planned for the future. The friendships forged in these halls were strong and enduring, built on mutual respect and admiration. At the heart of Queenswood's vibrant student life was the social prefect, Esther, a poised and articulate young lady who had the responsibility of keeping the students informed and engaged. Every Friday morning, Esther would stand before the entire school during assembly and announce the hairstyle of the week. This tradition was one of the most anticipated events of the week, as the girls eagerly awaited the opportunity to showcase their creativity and style. Esther's voice would echo through the assembly hall as she listed the hairstyles for the week: Senegalese braids. The girls listened attentively, already imagining how they would wear their hair to capture the attention of their peers. The school also had its resident hairstylist, Mama Yafunk, who was nothing short of a miracle worker. With hands as skilled as any artisan, Mama Yafunk could transform even the most tacky hair into a work of art. The girls adored her, often lining up outside her salon, eager to get the perfect hairstyle for the week. But there was one girl who never joined the line: Kemi. Kemi was a mystery to the girls of Queenswood. Despite never visiting Mama Yafunk, her hair was always the talk of the school. It was as if her hair had a life of its own, styled each day in intricate designs that seemed impossible to achieve alone. The other girls couldn't help but wonder how Kemi managed to maintain such perfect hair without any help. Yet, Kemi never spoke of her secrets, only smiling when asked, leaving the others in awe and admiration. As the new term began, the buzz around Kemi's hair grew louder. Each week, she arrived in class with a new style: braids that cascaded like waterfalls, buns as smooth as silk, and twists that looked as though they were woven by an invisible hand. The other girls were captivated by her hair, but as the admiration grew, so did the curiosity. How did Kemi manage it? What was her secret? Little did they know, the answer to their questions lay in the dark, hidden beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect world. And one of them would soon find out that some secrets are better left undiscovered. Kemi's mysterious hair became the topic of every conversation at Queenswood Girls' Boarding School. As the days passed, the admiration the other students felt for her began to evolve. For most, it remained pure awe, wonder at how someone could look so effortlessly flawless every day. But for others, that admiration began to mix with something darker: envy. Joy, Kemi's bunkmate, was one of those who felt the change. She had always been close to Kemi, appreciating her quiet nature and genuine smile. But as Kemi's popularity soared, Joy started to feel overshadowed. She found herself growing more and more resentful as the girls in the dormitory showered Kemi with compliments that Joy never seemed to receive. "Kemi, your hair is just perfect," one of the girls exclaimed one evening as they all gathered around after lights out. "You must tell us your secret. Is it some special product?" Kemi simply smiled, the same enigmatic smile she always gave, and shrugged. "Just practice, I guess." Joy forced herself to smile along with the others, but inside, her jealousy gnawed at her. She couldn't understand how Kemi managed to keep her hair so flawless without any visible effort. Joy had spent hours in front of the mirror, trying to replicate the intricate braids and twists, but her hair never came close to Kemi's. The weekly announcement of the hairstyle of the week by Esther, the social prefect, only made things worse. Esther's voice rang out in the assembly hall each Friday morning, listing off the styles that would dominate the school for the next 7 days. Ghanaian braids. The other girls buzzed with worries, planning how they would wear their hair, but Joy could barely muster any enthusiasm. She knew that whatever she tried, Kemi would outshine her without even breaking a sweat. Joy's frustration grew as she watched Kemi walk through the halls, her hair always in perfect form, drawing stares and whispers of admiration. The more Kemi succeeded, the more Joy felt herself slipping into the background. She could no longer bear to be in Kemi's shadow, and the once warm friendship between them began to cool. Kemi, for her part, seemed oblivious to the change in Joy. She continued to greet her with the same warm smile and gentle words, seemingly unaware of the jealousy brewing in her friend's heart. But Joy's bitterness was like a poison, spreading through her thoughts and making her see Kemi in a different light. Late at night, as the other girls slept, Joy would lie awake, replaying the day's events in her mind. She couldn't shake the feeling that Kemi was hiding something that gave her an unfair advantage over the rest of them. The more Joy thought about it, the more she became determined to uncover the truth. And so, as the days passed and Kemi's hair continued to draw admiration, Joy made a silent vow to herself. She would find out Kemi's secret, no matter what it took. She would expose whatever it was that made Kemi so special and finally take back the attention that she felt she deserved. But Joy had no idea just how dark that secret would be or the consequences that would come from uncovering it. As the tension between Kemi and Joy grew, so did the distance between them. What was once a close bond forged over late-night talks and shared dreams had become a strained relationship filled with unspoken words and hidden resentment. Kemi noticed the change in Joy, but every time she tried to bring it up, Joy would brush it off with a forced smile, claiming she was just tired or had too much homework. But Kemi could sense that something was wrong. Joy no longer sought her out to chat before bed or walked with her to classes in the morning. Instead, she seemed to be avoiding Kemi, spending more time with other girls and less time in the dormitory. It hurt Kemi more than she wanted to admit, but she didn't know how to fix it. She missed her friend, but something told her that confronting Joy directly would only make things worse. Meanwhile, the other girls at Queenswood continued to be enchanted by Kemi's hair. Each Monday, she would emerge from the dormitory with a new style, more intricate and beautiful than the last. The girls would gather around her, admiring the delicate braids or the elegant twist, asking her for tips that Kemi would give with a shy smile. But no matter how many times she explained her technique, none of them could replicate her results. Joy watched these interactions from afar, her jealousy growing with each passing day. It wasn't just that Kemi's hair was beautiful, it was that Kemi seemed to have everything. The admiration of their peers, the effortless grace that drew people to her, and now, the mystery that surrounded her perfect hair. Joy couldn't help but feel like she was losing everything to Kemi, even though Kemi had never asked for any of it. The more Joy stood in her envy, the more determined she became to uncover Kemi's secret. She started paying closer attention to Kemi's movements, watching for any clue that might explain how she managed to maintain such flawless hair. Joy noticed that Kemi never visited Mama Yofong's salon, even though the other girls made it a weekly ritual. She also realized that Kemi never mentioned any special products or routines, despite being asked repeatedly. Joy's frustration reached a boiling point when, one Friday, Esther announced that the hairstyle of the week would be the waterfall crown, a style that Kemi had worn to perfection just 2 weeks before. The girls buzzed with excitement, chattering about how they would try to copy Kemi's look. But Joy felt a surge of anger. How could they all be so blind? There had to be something more to Kemi's hair than just skill. That night, as the dormitory settled into silence, Joy made a decision. She would follow Kemi, she would discover her secret, whatever it was, and finally put an end to the mystery that had consumed her thoughts for so long. Little did Joy know, the truth she was about to uncover would change everything. The night was still and quiet as Joy lay in her bunk, waiting for the right moment. Her heart pounded in her chest as she kept her eyes trained on Kemi's bed, watching for any sign of movement. She had no idea what she would find, but the thought of uncovering Kemi's secret filled her with a strange mix of excitement and dread. Hours passed, and the dormitory was filled with the soft sounds of the girls breathing in their sleep. Joy's eyelids grew heavy, but she forced herself to stay awake, determined not to miss her chance. And then, just as she was about to give in to exhaustion, she saw it, Kemi slipping out of bed. Joy's breath caught in her throat as she watched Kemi move silently across the room, careful not to wake anyone. Kemi glanced around once, as if making sure no one was watching, before quietly opening the door and stepping out into the hallway. Ada waited a few moments before she followed, her pulse quickening with every step. The hallways of Queenswood were dark, the only light coming from the faint moonlight filtering through the windows. Joy moved as quietly as she could, keeping a safe distance behind Kemi as she trailed her down the long corridors. She had no idea where Kemi was going or what she was planning to do, but she was determined to find out. Kemi's destination, it turned out, was the school bathroom, a small, secluded room at the end of one of the older wings of the school. Joy watched from around the corner as Kemi slipped inside, closing the door softly behind her. Joy's mind raced. What could Kemi possibly be doing in there, in the middle of the night? Gathering her courage, Joy crept up to the bathroom door, pressing her ear against it. At first, she heard nothing but the sound of her own heartbeat, pounding in her ears. But then, slowly, she began to make out the faintest noise, a soft, haunting melody, almost like a lullaby, coming from inside. Joy's curiosity got the better of her. She slowly turned the doorknob, pushing the door open just enough to peek inside. What she saw made her blood run cold. Kemi was standing in front of the mirror, her head resting on the sink beside her. Her headless body was braiding her hair with an eerie precision, the fingers moving swiftly and expertly as if they had done this countless times before. The haunting melody filled the room, emanating from Kemi's detached head, which lay on the sink, eyes closed, as if in a trance. Joy's breath caught in her throat, and she stumbled back, almost knocking over a mop that was propped up against the wall. Kemi's eyes snapped open, her gaze locking onto Joy's. For a moment, time seemed to stand still as the two girls stared at each other, Joy, frozen in terror, and Kemi, with an expression that was impossible to read. Kemi's headless body stopped braiding and slowly reached out to pick up her head, which she carefully reattached to her neck. Joy wanted to run, to scream, to do anything to break the spell of horror that had gripped her, but her legs felt like they were made of lead. She couldn't move, couldn't think, couldn't do anything but watch as Kemi turned to face her fully. And then, with a calmness that sent chills down Joy's spine, Kemi walked toward her. Joy's feet remained rooted to the spot, her mind racing with panic. Kemi's expression was serene, almost unnervingly so, as she approached, each step echoing in the silent bathroom. "You shouldn't have followed me, Joy," Kemi said softly, her voice a mere whisper that carried an undertone of something dark and menacing. "Some secrets are meant to stay hidden." Joy opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Her throat was dry, her thoughts a tangled mess of fear and disbelief. How could this be happening? How could the girl she had shared so many moments with, the one she had envied and admired, be capable of something so unnatural? Kemi stopped just a few feet away from Joy, her eyes locking onto Joy's with an intensity that made Joy shiver. "I never wanted anyone to know," Kemi continued, her voice still low but laced with a quiet power. "But now that you've seen, you must promise never to tell anyone." Joy could only nod, her mind screaming at her to run, to flee from this nightmare. But her body betrayed her, staying still as Kemi's words washed over her. "If you tell anyone," Kemi whispered, her voice dropping even lower, "there will be consequences." Joy's heart pounded in her chest, the weight of Kemi's words sinking in. Consequences? What kind of consequences? The thought terrified her, but the look in Kemi's eyes told her that she didn't want to find out. She had to keep this secret, no matter what. Kemi watched her for a long moment, as if gauging the sincerity of Joy's silent promise. Then, with a small nod, she turned away, her calm demeanor never faltering. "Go back to bed, Joy," Kemi said, her tone final. "And remember, this stays between us." Joy didn't need to be told twice. The moment Kemi turned her back, Joy bolted out of the bathroom, her footsteps echoing loudly in the deserted hallway. She didn't stop running until she was back in the safety of her bunk, where she collapsed onto the mattress, her body trembling uncontrollably. As she lay there, her heart still racing, Joy's mind whirled with the horror of what she had just witnessed. Kemi's headless body, the haunting melody, the ease with which she had reattached her head, it was all too much to process. Joy had thought she wanted to uncover Kemi's secret, but now that she knew, she wished she could erase the memory from her mind. But she couldn't. The image of Kemi in that bathroom was seared into her thoughts, a permanent scar that she knew would never fade. Joy knew that she would have to live with this secret, just as Kemi had said, but the weight of it felt crushing. She closed her eyes, trying to calm her racing heart, but sleep wouldn't come. All she could think about was what Kemi had said, there would be consequences. Joy didn't know what those consequences might be, but she knew one thing for certain, she had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. The next morning, as the first light of dawn filtered into the dormitory, Joy lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She could hear the other girls stirring, preparing for another day, but she couldn't bring herself to move. The events of the night before replayed in her mind like a nightmare she couldn't escape. Eventually, Joy forced herself out of bed, moving through her morning routine in a daze. She didn't know how she would face Kemi, how she would act as if nothing had happened. But she had no choice. The secret she now carried was too dangerous, too terrifying to reveal. And so, with a heavy heart, Joy steeled herself for the day ahead, knowing that she had no option but to pretend. But even as she tried to go through the motions, Joy couldn't shake the feeling that things would never be the same again. The terror she felt that night clung to her like a shadow, and she knew that, whatever happened next, she was no longer just a student at Queenswood. She was a keeper of a secret that could destroy everything. As she walked out of the dormitory and into the bright morning light, Joy knew one thing for certain, Kemi's secret would haunt her forever.
Don't forget to share your experience in the comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more intriguing stories like this one. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next episode.